Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. So this is stop number 2 on a tour through Switzerland where we're checking out job sites, manufacturing facilities, trade schools. So if you haven't seen the first video that I put out, maybe go ahead and check that out after you're done checking this out, because this is crazy, man. We went to this job site here behind me that I don't even want to pronounce. It's Mathish? I don't know how you say it, but it's a multi-family residence. And I think it's got 18 units. They're all already sold out, so unfortunately, if this really appeals to you, no luck on this one. But I want to take you guys through this project here and show you just how crazy different they build in Switzerland versus what we build specifically as post frame builders, but even stick frame residential builders in the US. So let's go take a look. Oh, and just in case you were wondering, this company let us on site. It's really cool, but we wanted to make sure we were abiding by their laws. We've got this nice safety vest, even says SIGA on the back, and I went ahead and put a sticker on a nice hard hat. But what I wanted to say was, can you imagine every day rolling up to the job site and that is in your background? I don't know what I'd do, but anyway, let's go ahead and take a look. So here in this multi-family, I think there's 18 units. We're checking out the construction, and it is totally different than what we're used to in the States. Well, I can't see the internal frame here. They've got a gypsum board, you know, your standard gypsum board over top of something. So I'm hoping to I want to find some of the frame to see if they've stripped the concrete, then done gypsum. And then you'll notice these furring strips. First off, look at the size of these furring strips. I mean, in America, we would use like some of the crummiest lumber, but these things are big, beefy, and the reason is, if you look outside, they're using a rock wool or a mineral wool. I don't want to say it's rock wool. I think it's actually a different brand. And they've got an entire external insulation barrier, and then they're also doing it on the inside, which I'll show you guys. But look at this. Look at the framing. Look at these studs. I'm assuming they're about 2 foot apart, whatever that equates to in metric. It's just solid wood everywhere. The next thing I noticed when I came in here was, look at the ceiling. The entire ceiling is got a wood facade, right? And I was thinking that's probably like, I don't know, like some form of a plywood or a laminated plywood. It's going to be a thin layer. But check out this over here. It's a little bit dark, but what you're going to notice is that this ceiling above us is like 8 inches of solid wood. And that's absolutely insane. But the next thing we're going to do is look at this floor down here. 4th floor, and they've sprayed down this aggregate, and I can get it to break apart, but it's got an adhesive built into it. And so they've layered over top of the flooring system with this aggregate, which is supposedly for sound. Then they're going to do a radiant heat system. So these apartments are all going to have a radiant heated floor. So all these are going to have concrete floors. You can kind of get a good feel over here by the window how much floor has to be built up yet to these sliding doors. Let's see what else we can see as far as things that are just totally different than the American way of building, and especially the post frame way that we build. And it's an active job site, so there's going to be a little background noise, guys. Let's keep moving. Dude, look what I found. I found a random stud sitting in a wall, and you know, the carpenter in me definitely wants to check it for crown or twist, but there is nothing. It is like, and I don't know if you're going to see it here, but this thing is about as straight as it can be in all 4 directions. I've never seen anything like this. Yeah. Let's keep looking. This place is amazing, man. You know, one of the things that I love about Europe, and it took me a little bit to get used to the couple times I've been here, is their windows and doors. Now, check out this window. They're not like American-made windows at all. And you've got the option to turn up the handle, tilt out the window. Now, a lot of these buildings are not air-conditioned just because of the infrastructure and the way things are. You rely a lot on just outside, you know, ventilation. But you go ahead and close that, and now it becomes your standard window that maybe you think of like a casement, but you've got tons of airflow, and then you've got the ability to lock it. And when it locks, these things are like completely sealed. There's no room for air to even come in here, right? The other thing I wanted to show you was in this room here, we've got a lot of the open framing. So you're gonna notice here, this is like the party wall. This goes out to the hallway. You've got these, once again, massive framing timbers for studs. They're all perfectly straight. And this is gonna be filled up with your mineral wool insulation. And check this out. Now you can get a really good feel. This is what these ceilings are made of. This is a glue lamb laying on its side. So these things measure about 4 foot. They're probably, I don't know, 16, 18 feet long. And it's just like a 2x8 laid on its side, all glued together. And that's the entire system. And that's also what's underneath of us, underneath this concrete. And over here, you can kind of get a good idea. When we were downstairs and we were looking at that gravel that was on the ground, that was poured pretty close up to this beam. And then we've got an additional layer of gravel, a layer of insulation, the radiant heating, and then about 3 inches of this concrete. So if you look in there, this floor, the wooden floor downstairs, there's insulation here. This is the wet guard. So if I clean this off, somewhere maybe you would see, there we go. That's the wet guard on top of that laminated glue lamb ceiling that's above us here. And then another about 10 to 12 inches of floor, concrete, gravel, insulation. That brings us to about a 20-inch floor system. So really that's just mind-boggling when I think about it. But it's gonna make it really quiet, because remember, this is multifamily. And then check out these doors. Okay, this one's locked. We're gonna find an open door, and I'm gonna show you how amazing these things, oh, right here, check this out. You can see this, this roller system up here. You can see that. It's gonna keep it in the track nice, but look at this. Somebody has got some Stabilo levels, because this thing is like perfectly balanced, perfectly smooth, easy to operate. And this is like a 5-foot door to just walk out. And I don't know what this is exactly gonna be out here, but you can tell that there's probably about 10 to 12 inches also. I don't know if they're gonna build this up with like some sort of a paver patio system. I'll have to ask, but it's just incredible. Let's keep walking. So this is a good example. We've got our plumbing. I'm presuming this is plumbing, electrical. Here is the laminated ceiling that we've been showing off. It's about 8 inches thick. And then you're gonna have a concrete finished floor right here. You've got gravel going over all this conduit, which is gonna be to pull wiring. Looks like there's a hot and cold water here. Look at this. This is absolutely insane. 8 inches of wood, another 10 inches up here. You can look over here and see the door height, and that's all in just the flooring system. No floor joists anywhere in this project, because it's just a continuous, basically a glue lamb on its edge. It's crazy. These are all window and, I mean, these are doors. I don't know if these are doors as well, but you can really see the thickness on the jamb. All probably custom ordered. And here we've got, looks like a bunch of flashing pans. So probably, once again, door flashing pans maybe, or maybe these haven't been put together. No having to figure and cut on site. These are all custom fabricated for every opening, which, look at this. This is all glass openings here. We're down on the first floor. And then above us, I wanted to show you, see all that mineral wool? You can see that that's all attached to the concrete deck, or the wood deck, I should say, which down here, you can kind of see, look at the thickness of insulation. I mean, it's hard to tell exactly, but I would guess 8 inches of mineral wool insulation that's getting tacked up to the underside of that wooden laminate floor system. So just an overkill, not overkill, an overabundance, much more than we're used to as far as insulation goes on this entire structure. So this is a good detail to look at here. We've got our window frame installed. Here you can see the interior, or this is the exterior, but the inside of the exterior wall thickness, which is about, I'd guess this is about like a 2x10 thickness here. On the outside, we've got 2 inches of mineral wool and then stripping. So you're gonna have a continuous thermal break on the outside, and then you're cladding whatever. I don't know what the cladding is gonna be, if it's gonna be some panelized open cladding system. There is a picture that we can look at, but then on the cavity is then filled with mineral wool. An additional layer of gypsum on the inside. Some places I've seen 2 layers of gypsum, then another inch of mineral wool and furring strips. So just, it's crazy the amount of insulation and the thickness of these walls, which is gonna provide great sound and obviously comfort for the residents on the inside. I was looking at the exterior of this wall and I ran into Ben. Ben Bogey is way smarter than me. You're a building science expert. What I wanted to show you that he was pointing out is that there is no WRB.
At all. And no structural sheathing either.
Yeah, so tell me how that's possible, because when we build in North America, it's not typically like that.
Yeah, so this is, the wall assembly, so everybody understands right here, is we have drywall gypsum wallboard on the inside and it's taped, and that's our air barrier. Then we have the structure of the building here. It's these 3x8, finger
that's
jointed.
Like 10-inch.
Whatever it is, yeah, 3x10s, whatever they are. This is a wall cavity here. And then there's insulation inside the cavity like we normally have, but there's no sheathing here. Then we have this 2 inches of mineral wool on the outside, and you can see that it's tongue and groove, and there's no weather-resistant barrier at all. But the way that this wall assembly works is you have this tongue and groove right here, so as the water comes down, it's naturally shed by the mechanical direction of the tongue and groove.
Because mineral wool won't...
It's hydrophobic.
Yep.
It's totally hydrophobic. It repels water. And if there ever is any water loading that ever happens back into the cavity, because it's so vapor open, it's gonna dry out. There's like nothing in this assembly that's gonna stop water.
So no vapor barrier like we would
No
use.
vapor barrier, no vapor retarder, nothing. And it's vapor open here too, so it can actually dry to the interior, which is good in a cold climate. It's good to have both directions.
But you can't just do this. You also need, what they have done is a rain
So
screen,
you also
right?
need a ventilated rain screen cavity here. And so you'll notice that they are actually almost a 2-inch cavity. And the reason for that is, especially on tall walls, you need that depth in order to get airflow happening in that space. If you just do a little tiny 3/8 or 1/2 inch or 3/4 cavity, there's actually not enough airflow that happens in that space. So if they give you that thickness, you get that convective current that happens. Any water that's gonna come through, it's gonna get dried out.
So, I mean, when we look through this, I look at the framing and I think, holy cow, this thing's crazy. The wall thickness, the floor thickness, all these details, but it's totally unconventional from a building science standpoint for American buildings.
For American buildings. So this is something that's been happening in Europe for a while now, and I've built some of these wall assemblies, and you can find some write-ups I've done on wall assemblies similar to this. They work. The point is that the physics works, and if anything, once you start to wrap your head around the science, these are almost safer wall assemblies to build because they have so much drying potential. Any moisture that gets over there, you're not locking it, it's not trapping it, it can always get out. You know, that's the reason the houses in New England, where I'm from, are 200, 250 years old. It's because there was nothing in there to trap the water.
But well, wait a second, does that mean that the houses should breathe or shouldn't breathe?
So, no, so here's the thing. Houses shouldn't breathe. Occupants need to breathe. Houses need to dry.
Oh, okay.
If your house is breathing, you need to call an exorcist.
That's a good point. So guys, Ben, if people want to check you out, where would they even find you?
Ben Bogey on Instagram, BenBogie.
Nice, dude. Thanks, Ben, for giving us some insight. Totally different than what we do typically. Dang, this was an epic project to come take a look at. And I think you guys would agree that it is totally different than anything that you see in the States. Maybe some of this stuff will come to the States as we develop our building techniques. I don't know. There's definitely things to take away that are good building practices. And I don't think this building is going to go anywhere for a very long time. If you want, this is kind of a good, visual on what this project is going to look like. Very modern, very sleek. I really like it. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Do you think this construction method is overkill? Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. I've got a lot of videos coming from the Swiss construction tour that we're doing right now, so make sure you check all those out. Hit that subscribe button and we'll go ahead and catch you guys on the next video.